Hi everybody, Ryan Ballengee with Golf News Net here. It's been a while since we've talked about the FlightScope Mevo. We've done an initial unboxing, we did a talk about it, we did an initial review, which was somewhat mildly controversial because we only used it once at that point. And so we've had several months now. We haven't played tons and tons of golf with the Mevo, but we have had a chance to do it a little bit in the fall, get a little bit more data with it. And also we've kind of had a little bit of validation from our friends at My Golf Spy who have also done a FlightScope Mevo test. They did a lot of shot tracking data and came out with their findings. And so I kind of wanted to give an updated review, updated thoughts on the Mevo, how best to use it, whether you should buy it. So for those of you who don't know, this is the FlightScope Mevo. It's a $500 launch monitor that FlightScope came out with around springtime. In May, I think, is when I got mine. And they give you basically 1 week lead time. They'll send you the Mevo. So they're just kind of making these as they go, as they get more stock in. And it'll be a little bit more widely available. But for $500, you get to use this device as a kind of a radar that's going to be able to track several sports for you. But for our purposes, it's golf. You can also use baseball. They have soccer functionality soon, which is kind of neat. I mean, if you have a multi-sport athlete in your house. But the idea for golf in particular is that it's able to track ball speed, swing speed, and using its algorithm projection formula, kind of tells you how high you hit the ball. It'll tell you how far you hit the ball in terms of carry and total distance, and then it'll give you an idea of spin rate, and we'll get back to spin rate in a minute. So the initial feedback I think that I gave was that it's fairly accurate, and we didn't do a whole ton of calibration against other devices at the time, but with more experience and also some confirmation of our bias and our findings from the folks in My Golf Spy, I can tell you that the Mevo is a good product. Now, that good product still needs to be calibrated. You need to understand that for $500 you don't get the same kind of benefit that you could get from a $2,000, $5,000, $25,000 launch monitor. That's not the point. You're not supposed to get a fully fledged FlightScope or TrackMan or Foresight Sports GC Quad in this device. It's not what it's meant to be. It's supposed to be meant for a recreational golfer to be able to do basic things. There's basic characteristics that we talked about. Not do a full fitting. You're not doing full-fledged teaching. You're not looking at side spin numbers or anything like that. You're getting basic data that you can use to be able to hone in your game a little bit more and to be able to do some things with that data for your game that you couldn't do otherwise. So it's kind of a gateway toward other potential launch monitors in the future. Maybe you look at a $2,000 launch monitor next. But to be able to make this work for you, I think that you need to be able to calibrate this against other launch monitors that you trust. Whether that's going to a teaching professional that you already know, going to a facility that you already work with, you need to be able to basically compare apples to apples. The algorithm for this is consistent, but what I have found that it kind of consistently overstates height and carry on my shots. And I hit the ball kind of high, so maybe your mileage will vary. But I found that it does overestimate how far I carry the ball. That could also be because its algorithm is different than other launch monitors. They're not all the same. It doesn't always give you the same exact data and doesn't make the same exact assumptions about where you are, sea level, weather, other things. So you get different results because it is effectively a projection, not a 100% measurement of what you're going to have. So if you can calibrate this and do it, within the first couple of times that you try to use it, then I think you have a baseline. You can say, okay, well, the FlightScope overestimates how far I hit the ball by 2 to 5%. Or it overestimates how high I hit the ball by 3%. So you can know plus or minus a little bit what you're getting. And I would say that, generally speaking, this is accurate. I mean, it's not like it's 25% off. It's not even more than a handful of percent off at any one time compared to a much pricier launch monitor, where you're going to get more data points, but for this, and my basic purposes, for equipment testing and video making, this is exactly what I need it to do. If you don't have access to a launch monitor, then the next best thing you can do is try to eyeball it. And literally have someone go with you to the driving range, watch balls fly, laser how far they flew, and then try to compare it to what the Mevo says. That's not a good idea, but if that's your last resort, then that's probably what you should do. I guess you could also conceivably try to look at another low-price launch monitor in the space, maybe a Swing Caddy, and get a comparison there. You could do that. I mean, they're both reasonably accurate in terms of how far they say you hit the ball, but plus or minus, your mileage will vary. So I say that's the one important thing with the Mevo. The other piece of this is making sure that you buy the metallic stickers. These are a $25 investment. You get 1,000 of them from Mevo or FlightScope when you buy this. You get some in the packaging, like 50 or something like that, but you should just buy 1,000 of them. They're $25. That's not a lot of money per sticker, obviously. A couple cents, right? So if you're looking to try to get as much value as you can out of the Mevo, you should have a set of these ready to go. Now, obviously, if you go to a public driving range or even a private driving range, you're hitting outdoors, and you're not playing with this on the golf course, you're not going to get the balls back, so you're not going to get the stickers back. So you probably want to limit your use of this to some extent at a public range or a place where you're not going to get the ball back. You use one per ball. So you put one on the golf ball, you point the metallic sticker toward your target, and you hit. And then that metallic sticker is gone. But you get a much better spin reading than you would otherwise get, that I would otherwise consider pretty unreliable from the Mevo. So you need the metallic stickers to get that spin rate, which is important to a lot of you. So buy these, use them. They work just as fine indoors or outdoors. I would say it's a little bit better outdoors just because you get a little bit more time in the ball flick before it hits the screen, and that's also a function that matters, how much time you have between when you hit your golf ball and when it hits your indoor screen or when it hits the wall or your net. So that's important to know. So I would recommend going outdoors, especially if you're working on spin rate measurement and testing, because you know you're going to have the time for the Mevo to figure it out and hit it with the radar. So I would say do that and consider that. Other points to consider at this point, the app is good. I like it. It's friendly. It's easy to connect via Bluetooth to your Android device, your iPhone. It's quick to download, easy to use. I like that. You can take video. You can put data points over that video. You can do other drawing stuff on it, so that's good. I don't necessarily use it for that purpose. I just want the numbers because I'm not really working on swing changes or anything like that. And I know kind of by marking which ones I like and which ones to throw out, which are the keepers, to help me kind of hone in on what I like about either a piece of equipment or the thing I'm trying to work on. So I would say that the app is a strong app, and it's only going to continue to get better. FlightScope recently updated the firmware for this. So firmware is all the stuff that's going on in here when it's trying to make sense of your golf shots and tell you on the phone what happened. So the firmware has been updated. They're going to continue to do that over the life of this product, but this is the first major firmware update that I've seen, and I think it's an improvement. I think you'll see it continue to get better over time. So you're making a little bit of a ground floor investment now, but it's surely to get better over time. The chipping and pitching function, which is set up in the app to be separate than hitting full shots, it's not quite up to snuff yet. That is my one big bone to pick with this product at this point, is that that's not the function where it needs to be, and it's something I would love to use more often, because one of the things I want to work on in 2018 is improving my spin rates around the greens and with pitch shots. And I don't feel like I'm getting the data that I need from that right now, so I think that's one bone to pick. And that, again, will improve over time as the product gets better. They put more and more into it, more feedback from people like you and me who use the thing. So we'll see that improve over time. I have faith in that. FlightScope's a good company. They have a wealth of data and research, and they've got a good team. So they're going to put together a better product over time. And the hardware will also probably improve over time too. So I would say after having this for several months now, I got it back in May, I like this product. I will use it more in 2018, and I feel like now that I have a baseline to compare it, I have a sense of what it means for my game with the numbers I give with the Mevo, and that helps me with club testing, and that'll help me with my game in the future. Give me your feedback or your questions on social media. I'm on Twitter at Ryan Ballengee, RyanBallengee, and hopefully we'll talk to you again in the future.